In films, you hear that the authorities don't negotiate with kidnappers, but the truth is that ransoms are often paid. Today we present a top 5 of the highest ransoms in the world. You'll see that some of them took place over a number of years in the early 1970s, particularly in Argentina. Hey, if you're here, don't forget to subscribe to the Curiosity Wiki YouTube channel. Activate the bell to be the first to see the new videos. Number 5. John Thompson. Ransom, $3 million. The 1970s in Argentina was proved to be a good time for kidnapping wealthy executives. Many businessmen were kidnapped straight off the streets and held for huge ransoms. We still wonder how companies managed to hire such people in those positions. For a while many wondered if the job was open just because someone had been kidnapped. One of the earliest kidnappings is that of John Thompson, president of Firestone Tire and Rubber Corporation's Argentine operations. Thompson's car was forcibly taken off the road in Buenos Aires in June 1973. 5 cars surrounded his vehicle, his driver was pulled out of the car and pushed into a ditch, and Thompson was kidnapped. The People's Revolutionary Army took responsibility for the kidnapping. Thompson was released after a $3 million ransom was paid, a record at the time. He was held captive for 2.5 weeks. Number 4. ENRIQUE METZ. Ransom, $5 million. In the 1970s, Argentina had many economic problems. Inflation was out of control and workers believed that employers wanted to keep their wages low because the government wanted to. Because of this, many terrorist groups also got the support of the people. According to reports in press, high-profile people such as millionaire executives were being kidnapped for huge ransoms. Because they were not getting support from the people, they changed their tactics. When ENRIQUE METZ, an important Mercedes executive, was kidnapped, the kidnappers did not demand a ransom, but wanted them to pay a fine for the crimes committed by the company in Argentina. After Mercedes paid $5 million for Metz's release, they demanded that the company rehire more than 100 employees who had been fired. However, this tactic of generating jobs and higher wages as a ransom has made the kidnapping group grow in popularity. Number 3. PATTY HEARST. Ransom, $6 million. You may have heard of PATTY HEARST. She's probably the most famous American kidnapping victim of our time. Hearst, who was part of a wealthy family of journalists, is said to have been kidnapped from her own apartment. Hearst was held with the kidnappers for 19 months, and a thing that was very strange, she became a member of the group. She changed her name to Tanya, and even managed to help the terrorists rob a bank. But before PATTY HEARST became a member, the kidnappers negotiated her release. According to news reports, they initially demanded the release of 2 of their members who were serving prison sentences. When they were refused, the kidnappers changed tactics and demanded that the girl's family buy $2 million worth of food for poor people in California. Then after a short time, they demanded to provide $70 for each person in California to buy free food. This could have cost $60 million. Hearst's father paid $6 million in food, but it turned out to be a real failure, because the food distribution sparked riots in the streets, and the kidnappers claimed the food was of very poor quality, and they refused to release the girl. But it is possible that she did not even want to be released. Number 2. WALTER KWOK. Ransom, $77 million. The big spender is said to have been a kidnapper, robber and arms smuggler. For several years in the 1990s, Big Spender made a lot of money from kidnapping. He kidnapped the richest people in Hong Kong and held them captive for ransom. According to media reports, one of Big Spender's biggest kidnapping was Walter Kwok, the head of a property empire, and one of Hong Kong's richest men. Big Spender had his share of kidnappings where people were very cooperative, but Kwok didn't let up and resisted. This caused him to be beaten mercilessly, because apparently when you are kidnapped you have to be polite. Kwok was released after his family delivered $77 million to Big Spender. But unfortunately he lost almost all of it, because he suffered psychological problems, and as a result gave up most of his power in the company to his brothers. Number 1. The Royal Family of Qatar. Ransom, $1 billion. There was a time in 1997 when $1 billion was an important amount of money. Nowadays, if you want to impress someone with your wealth, you probably have to talk about at least $1 billion. Apparently the kidnappers of the world know this, especially in 2016, when they kidnapped members of the Royal House of Qatar. According to media reports, the group traveled to Iraq in December 2015 to go on a hunting expedition, despite the dangers of entering that part of the world. So it's not surprising that the place where they set up camp was invaded, and they were taken hostage. The Qatar government never heard from them again until March 2016, about 4 months later, when a ransom was demanded. Negotiations lasted 2 years, and Qatar paid $1 billion. Qatar has been harshly criticized because it is believed that so much money has encouraged terrorist groups. Several countries in the region, including Saudi Arabia, severed diplomatic ties with Qatar over the payments. Thank you for watching this Curiosity Wiki video. If you like our video, do not forget to subscribe, like and share.